Thank you. Thank you so much. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the first backstage. And today I'm going to present on the OSPO playbook. So this talk is mainly for the people who wants to establish an open source program office. And this is for, in this talk, I'm going to present about what's an OSPO and what are the principles of OSPO and what are the core functions and what are the challenges I have faced in my OSPO at the office. So we are going to discuss on strategies to solve those challenges too. So for the people who don't know me, my name is Harsha. I'm working as engineering manager OSPO at Lambda Test, and also I'm open source enthusiast and a JavaScript lover. And I'm a maintainer of a couple of open source projects like Selenium and WebDriver IO. So before going into the topic, I would like to set the stage with a question. So how do successful companies transform from being an open source consumers to meaningful contributors and leaders? So at the heart of this transformation lies Open Source Program Office. So what is an OSPO? So Open Source Program Office is a dedicated office in an organization that actually provides strategical values, governance, and provides policies, and also support for all the open source initiatives. So to say in short, an OSPO is a backbone. Think of it as a central nervous system for an organization for all your open source initiatives. So let us go with the 6 key principles that that defines the OSPO role. So I would like to start with the governance first, because governance acts as a foundation for the OSPO, and governance provides a framework for decision making things around the OSPO. So OSPO creates policies, process that define how the developer should interact and engage with the open source projects. So that's all about the governance. So second one is the transparency. OSPO sets clear communication on all the open source activities inside and outside. And third one is the collaboration. So OSPOs facilitates working relationship with the developers and across developers across organization teams. So within the organization and with other open source communities. And fourth one is the innovation. So by using open source technologies, by leveraging open source technologies, actually, OSPO drives the technological advancements in the company. And fifth one is the sustainability. So OSPO also facilitates long-term sustainability of the open source projects that are developed inside the company and the projects that are used by the company. And at the top of the pyramid actually resides the reciprocity. So reciprocity is nothing but OSPO must balance the contributions that are made by the company and the profits that are getting to the company. So OSPO actually should balance both the contributions made and contributions received. So from this pyramid visualization, you can see that each principle sits on top of each other but makes a complete OSPO strategy. So and also each principle is crucial for an organization to engage into the OSPO. So now we know the OSPO and the key principles of OSPO. So why should an organization actually invest in the open source program office? So I have done a bit of amount of research in that, and I have collected some data points in here. So to answer the question first, I would like to discuss what OSPO value drives. So there are key 6 segments that OSPO value drivers. First one is the risk management, cost efficiency, innovation, community engagement, developer satisfaction, and strategic alignment. So here, risk management is at the highest stake. So we'll discuss one by one. So I'd like to go first with the risk management. So OSPO provides systematic approaches to managing open source related risk. First one is the license compliance. So OSPO actually creates policies and licenses that prevent costly legal issues. For example, there was a scenario where a company, a tech giant, faced a 100 million lawsuit because of violating the GPL license violations that OSPO could have been prevented. And second one is the security management. So OSPO actually maintains the open source projects, and if there are any issues, they can quickly, rapidly track and remediate the vulnerabilities in the dependencies, right? So this is for security management. And third one is the dependency tracking. OSPO maintains all the open source projects used within the company for a product. For example, if there is any issue raised in the open source project, or if there is any issue found in the open source project, so that the OSPO can easily solve the issue in the product rapidly. And fourth one is the standardization. So OSPO also makes the list of approved softwares for the developers to use in order to reduce the wild west approach of open source adoption. And second one is the cost efficiency, which is at 20%, because cost efficiency represents the significant financial benefits to the company. First one is the reduced development cost. So companies, the successful companies, I can say, leveraged existing open source solutions rather than creating a new things from the scratch. So it is said that Microsoft saves $500 million annually through strategic open source usage. And second one is the maintenance burden sharing. So when a company contributes to open source projects, they actually enhance or fix the bug in the open source project. And instead of keeping them private, they actually push into the changes or raise the PR so that the other people can use and benefit from them. And third one is the accelerated time to market. So companies build products a lot faster instead of by leveraging the open source solutions instead of creating a new one. And fourth one is the infrastructure savings. So again, in here, organizations report to save a lot more money by leveraging the existing open source solutions instead of buying expensive commercial licenses. And the third segment is the innovation. So innovation reflects on how OSPO accelerated technical advancements in here. So access to cutting-edge technology. Having an open source team helps the internal teams in the organization to adopt latest technologies or latest open source solutions for their projects. Collaboration multiplier. So this is one good example where when Netflix open sourced their Chaos Monkey tool, a lot of external contributors has helped it to evolve it. Such that even Netflix didn't believe that what could they have been built. So third one is the rapid experimentation. So as we say, open source is free and open. So users does not need to wait for the approvals or for the budget constraints. They actually need to clone the project and they can experiment on the open source projects for the solutions. And fifth one is the cross-pollination. So external project involvements brings fresh solutions to the internal challenges. Example, developers who are working for the open source and for the organization actually leverage open source solutions to solve the organization challenges. So fourth one is the community engagement. So community engagement transforms external relationships. So first one is ecosystem influence. So companies through strategic contributions shape the technical standards and directions of the project. And second one is the knowledge networks. So active contribution in the open source actually gives you the expertise or connects you to the experts in the open source community who become the unofficial extensive for your workforce. So third one is the reputation building. So companies who are actively in open source contribution tend to gain 35% of increased reputation. Fourth one is the feedback acceleration. So being in the open source community or contributing to the open source community shortens your feedback cycles from days to months, and months to days, and sometimes days to hours too. And the fifth one is the developer satisfaction. So developer satisfaction, impacts the talent strategies. And first one is the recruitment advantage. 82% of the developers prefer employees who has open source contribution, open source experience. So one of the good examples is at Lambda Test, I recently hired a person by impressing from his GitHub profile. And once he onboarded, and I discovered that he's the member of FOSS community in India. And retention improvement, engineers report to have 23% of higher job satisfaction with the OSS involvement. And third one is skill development. So contributing to open source naturally accelerates learning and through the external project participation. And fourth one is the recognition opportunities. Being in open source, you all know you will get recognized easily, and that also helps you for the career advancement paths. And the sixth segment is the long-term positioning. Strategic alignment provides long-term positioning. So first one is the technology leadership. So companies like Google and Microsoft use open source to establish platform dominance, which should not be. Ecosystem creation. So by key sourcing open source tools, by open sourcing key tools in your company, actually you can build a lot of vibrant tools around it. For example, the projects like Android and React, actually when they open source their tools, now they have a lot of other projects built around it, right? So there's a kind of clean ecosystem built around it. Third one is the vendor relationship leverage. So gain influence with providers and reduce risk in loss. So companies who contribute to open source also said to have gained respect and influence from the software vendors. So that also gives them for the software vendors to get the support easily and also make the changes what they need. And a market standing setting. So open source should always align your open source activities or open source initiatives with the business objectives so that it will also benefit for your company. So these are all 6 segments for the open source. So let us discuss the core functions of the open source. So before going into this next core functions, I would like to say that the successful companies today does not just use open source tools, but also engages strategically by having the open source program offices. So let us discuss the core functions of the open source program office. So there are 6 core functions of the OSPO. First one is the legal compliance. So OSPO ensures that OSPO creates policies or manages the legal compliance or legal licenses. So OSPO ensures that organization open source activities adhere to all the legal requirements and that protect companies' intellectual properties. And second one is the community management. So open source represent company to the external open source communities, right? So that builds the relationships that benefit in both ways. So the third one is the contribution facilitation. So OSPO also should create contribution guidelines and creates policies and clear picture for the contribution workflows for whoever wants to contribute to the open source. So this is done internally in the organization, and in the open source projects, they maintain a contribution guidelines document to set up a clear workflow for the new contributors. And fourth one is the education and training. So OSPOs actually develop internal expertise and awareness around the open source for the internal members in the organization on the best practices and policies, governance, and how to use licenses, so that the developers can learn about the licenses and legal about the complaints and security about the vulnerabilities and etc. So strategic planning. So all the open source initiatives, as I said, should align with the business objectives, so there will be benefit in the both ways for the open source and also for the company. So from the strategic planning, whenever you're doing for the open source things, you have to also show the metrics to the executive leadership so that you can see what actually value is derived from the open source, having the open source engagement. And the sixth core function of OSPO is the communication. So communication is the vital role because having clear communication, OSPO should facilitate clear communication on the open source initiatives by training programs or participating in the external communities or external activities kind of thing. So these are the 6 core functions of the OSPO that we do. And you have to also share by your success stories in the organizations, what your OSPO has done and what value and what's the ROI and everything to the organization, so that you will receive the continuous support for your OSPO in the organization. So let us see now what are the OSPO challenges I have faced in my office. So it's been 8 months. I have joined as an open source OSPO, open source program manager in Lambda Test. So initially we had no open source program office, so we had to set up from the scratch, and there are a lot of challenges. So I've listed out 5 top challenges, or the generic challenges I can say. So these challenges are specifically I faced, but these challenges might not be the same for all the organizations. So the first challenge is legal complexities with licensing, intellectual property, and compliance. And the second challenge is aligning multiple departments with different priorities, because OSPO team needs to coordinate with a lot of teams internally with engineering, legal, security, and IT. So a lot of teams has different priorities and has different perspective on the open source. And third one is the resource allocation across competing open source initiatives, because there are a lot of open source projects competing for the limited resources, right? So OSPO should make sure to which project they have to give the priority based on the organization needs and the impact. So this is one big challenge. And the fourth challenging is balancing strategic long-term vision with tactical needs. So OSPO, while contributing to the projects, also need to look into the strategic long-term relationship while managing the daily tasks, right? So this is one thing. And the fifth one is building internal knowledge and expertise in open source. So a lot of organizations lacks open source best practices. They don't have knowledge on the open source. So building internal knowledge takes time. So that when developers understand the license and when the legal understands the compliance and when the executive leadership understands the dynamics, then organization will become most effective towards open source engagement. So these are the 5 challenges I have faced in my company, and we had a team of 5 members OSPO within the company, and we have decided the common solutions for that. And the first strategy is to overcome this challenge is foster cross-team collaboration. So to OSPO can coordinate with a lot of teams internally, with the engineering teams, with security and IT, by having the regular touch points in between the departments. So each and every department will have a open source champion or open source POC who can act as a bridge between the OSPO team and the department, so we can share our thoughts. So the main point is not all everything will be agreeable, but we have to make sure that this strategy helps us to make sure to understand the constraints between us. And second one is the develop clear policies. So open source program office should have clear policies so that the developer can understand or leverage the open source solutions, and he can get some idea on the open source code, creating the straightforward policies on consumption, contribution, and the compliance. The third one is the secure executive sponsorship. So aligning open source initiatives with the business objectives helps to secure mainly helps to secure your business goals. As I said, we have to develop metrics for the executive leadership for the achievements you have done so far with the OSPO, and regular communication value gives the clear picture on how the OSPO actually derives the value with the OSPO engagement to the leadership. So implement graduated process. So not all open source projects require the same level of oversight. So simple open source project will have smaller checks. Medium open source projects will have medium checks, and critical open source projects will have a peer and longer checks, right? So this process actually reduces a lot of paperwork for the smaller projects and gives you more time to focus on the bigger projects. And invest in education. So the last one is investing a lot. The organization has to take the initiative and invest in the open source thing, and training on the open source thing to the internal team members. So this can be done by through training programs or knowledge sharing process and community engagement opportunities. So in summary, what I want to say is the future belongs to the organizations that just don't consume open source, but who also engage with it and contribute in it. So your OSPO is the bridge to that future. Okay, yeah. So this is all about my talk. Thank you. Q&A. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Questions, I see.
Yeah. Thanks for your talk. Well, you showed some numbers, so about 25% for risk management and so on. So I'm running an OSPO for an organization of 26,000 employees, and I wonder where the numbers really come from.
Okay, so these are based on my research with few organizations, but I have not included with all the organizations. So this might differ from big organizations to smaller organizations. So I have only taken the smaller organizations into the picture and get these numbers.
Just as just as an example, so let's say risk management, and I'm primarily a license compliance guy. So if I would ask my developers, would they agree to the numbers, they would say no. because license compliance, security vulnerability management is a pain in the ass for them, and they would blame me for that and me and my team for this every day. So they would not say that this is really an advantage for them. So maybe just add for next time some more explanation of the numbers.
Sure, yeah.
So you mentioned the, sorry, oh my God, the executive sponsorship is important. Can you share, do you have any kind of strategies of how to achieve this?
Okay, so when you create an OSPO in an organization, you cannot just go and contribute to the open source projects, but your OSPO also should get value from the open source projects you contribute, right? So having aligned with the business goals that at Lambda Test, for example, we do for the open source projects we contribute, and we get the same kind of value from it. So we have to also show the leadership team what are the achievements we have done from the open source initiatives, so that our open source initiatives will be continued sponsoring from the organization. So open source initiatives need support from the leadership, not only from the words but also from the resources side. So this is having goals assigned will make you to secure the executive sponsorship.
Thanks for the talk and the insights. I kind of want to jump on this question as well, but with the emphasis on the initiation or the initial secure of the executive sponsorship within the organization. Do you have any tips, basically, how to start the whole thing?
We are still learning, so we are 8 months old in the open source program office, so we are looking for a lot of other companies to learn on the same. So currently, no, I don't have any tips.